without, there's not a good way to control range without moving, right? I mean, you can do some tricks, right? And we should talk about that at least briefly. You can project yourself further out, make your effective range further by projecting your sword a little bit. There's obviously dangers in doing this, but your range is further. Single sword, you can like kind of get some arm snipe opportunities by doing that and using good movement to stay out of their effective range. It's okay. I prefer more of a kind of neutral, keep your sword in a good defensive position, right, where you can take care of all the cone of defense thing that everyone always tries to overcomplicate fighting and talk about. Basically, you can guard your body if it's your sword's in the right place. You can call it whatever the hell you want, but that's what it is, right? All right, so I tend to want to keep it close instead of projecting out. I remember when I was injured and I couldn't really move very well, I projected out like a mother, just because I had maybe one step in me and that was it. And so I had to like get my opportunity. So like I said, anything that I say is a good idea doesn't mean you can't break it for reasons, right? One constant truth, don't lock your joints. Don't do that. Don't lock your knees, don't lock your elbows. That's an invitation for injury, right? Okay, so we need to keep distance. We're gonna do it with our feet. So if he presses in on me, right? I'm just taking my board away to not distract from it for right now. So if he presses in on me like we start to fight, all right, look what I'm gonna do to keep range. What am I doing? Stepping to the side and back. So not just straight back. I haven't changed in these situations here, right? If I step straight back, again, anything I tell you, there are reasons why you can not do that, right? And maybe to get them into doing something like, maybe I want him to throw at me and my plan is I'm gonna get him to throw here. Then I'm gonna step off and snipe. Perfectly fine. You just gotta be aware. I'm not changing situations. Like he sees something, right? If he's coming at me, he's doing that hopefully for a reason, right? And so if I don't change the situation, then I'm giving him what he wants, right? Whereas if he comes at me and I dip out of that, well now he's got to think about this. What's happened here? Even if I'm outside of his sword, right? And I step in. Oh, what do I have? The inside line. So we talked a lot about initiative in the last class. And initiative is very important in fighting. I'm moving backwards, but I'm still seizing initiative in this instance because what I've done, he has inside here. I gave myself inside. Now he should feel worried about this, right? And I can do a lot of cool things from this position. Now I don't have to do anything, right? I gain myself a lot by taking that lateral step back, but I don't have to do anything. I can. I might dip at him, right? And then I'll still step back just to see what he does. Now he's nervous because now he's giving me inside line. He's trying to figure out how to get that back. Right now, that's when I look for opportunities, right? So, in general, and this doesn't mean I'm always stepping right 100% of the time, but in general, when fighting a right-handed primary fighter, even left-handed people, you block these angles a lot by stepping off to the right. You can go, like if you're wanting to be aggressive, you can do that too. Then you just go like this, and then you're forward and right. See, I still have that inside line. I can seize the inside line the same way, right? I'm out here, forward and right, inside line. Right, he has to fight to keep that. Inside line is super important. Amp guard is transitioning, foam fighting is transitioning. We haven't done it yet, but the smart people up top are already doing it, right? We don't throw so many like big, huge outside shots anymore because that's what people want you to throw. Because so many people have practiced block strike for so long. They're like, oh, big outside shot, block, strike, right? Well, for a long time, I never really threw outside shots anyway, but it was Sponge who told me, like, I noticed, like, you never throw outside shots. Isaac very rarely throws outside shots. Harry does a little more just because his range is so long. But the top end is transitioning to more of that tight inside game kind of style. Like, not inside close, but inside of these, instead of, like, these big outside shots. So be aware of that and think about it when you're throwing. Like, it's good to know the big wraps, but at the same time, the game's a little faster than like the big wrap era now, and we will, trust me, 2-3 years from now, you won't see those shots as much, unless they're fighting people who you don't really need to worry about fighting. I'm not here to teach you how to beat them. You don't need my help with that, right? All right, so in general, that right step, forward or back doesn't really matter, right? If he comes, I go back. If I want to come, even if I switch it up on him, still step right. Look, now look at me. Look, he got real nervous, right? He shifted twice to try to catch up. How ahead am I now? That's what you do with initiative, and that's how you seize it, right? Just got to be careful. Obviously, keep your targets defended. If you're left-handed, the same kind of thing, right? Then I might step left to threaten that outside. Like, see, he moved twice again, right? And then if he comes towards me, I might dip and get that. Now look, he's nervous, right? I have that inside line, he had to shift again. If you have to move once and they have to move twice, automatically you're at an advantage in general. Like, because you're using a lot less energy, one, when you get to be 40, almost 42 years old now, that's a very important thing, right? Less steps is better. But you're also finding opportunities faster. You're not having to worry so much about shifting around. You're just looking for the good time to go. Again, go do that. Be patient. That's the primary thing too. In this thing, there's no rush. We're maintaining distance. We have control, so we're being patient. You know, if he's coming at me and I'm stepping off, I'm keeping good range. I'm patient. If he wants to throw at me from this range, God bless him. He decided Christmas came early and he's going to give me a present. I'm fine with that. If I die in that situation, I've made a horrible mistake because my footwork was good. Something else is obviously bad. But that's the kind of thing you want to do. Encourage people to throw from those bad angles. Now, that's in general where we're stepping right? Why would we step left? Because there's reasons.
Well, it automatically it's a good way to threaten outside.
Yeah, so if you're right-handed, right, I always fight single sword left-handed. Don't tell the lefties that. They get all excited. But single sword, I prefer left-handed.
What was that?
So if you step left, it's generally because you want to threaten this shoulder.
Yeah.
And why you're actually doing it isn't to hit that shoulder, it's to hit somewhere over here.
Yeah.
But you want this to feel threatened, right? And so if I'm fighting him, he steps towards me, I step out this way, he's like, oh. Now I've ceded inside line, you have to realize that. Like, you've given up inside line, that's okay though, because you want to come back over here, but you're going to do it with some movement, right? Here you're still in good range, so he can't snipe at you. You don't try like this crap, or like, oh, I can kind of see that shoulder, right? That's, block it. Yeah, see, that's what he wants. Now, we know that's what he wants, right? So two things out of here. And these are all, we're talking long range shots now, we're controlling distance. Come here. Now we might, again, step a little more to the left one more time. Right? We can do that, right? I didn't go too far. I'm not too far on my front foot, but my spacing is good, right? I'm on my balls pretty much, right? Pretty good, right? We're all right? Okay, our feet didn't get jacked up in that. Now, granted, I'm only hitting him with this much, so you have to be careful not to overextend. Don't like hunch too far forward to get that shot. But if you know, like, you step outside, you do this and step left, look, he already thinking I'm going to throw at that shoulder. So we're like, yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to do, throw at it. He raises up, we can come here, or we can even step off and come here, right? And if we lose, it'll be this that we lose. It'll be hard for him to recover his block because he's already brought it up, right? So got micro movement outside, boom, this flinch forward here, and then we have a choice. We can come here, more dangerous, because you're giving shoulder here. But you can get it here, less dangerous because you're coming for this, right? And if he does that, just lean right into a stab. Because now his thingy's blocked, and you're like right by him, right? Unless he can block it all the way across his body plane, then you literally just have to lean a little bit into a stab. So, all right. So we move left because we want to feel, like, make that left side feel threatened. We're looking for something over here possibly, or we're looking to feint high. Because anytime you move towards that shoulder is going to feel threatening. They're going to block high. You get them to bring their block up, and then you can hit low. All right? Cool. That's single. And long range is some of the stuff you can do. But the idea is we maintain distance with our feet. And we stay light on our feet, right? But we have this, you want to have this bouncy feel, right? If you're like this, you'll lose that bouncy feel. You can't do it anymore. It just doesn't feel right. And you'll feel like too much pressure on your back knee. You never want to feel too much pressure on your knees at all. You always want to feel this, like I can move right any direction I want. I have good wherever I want to go, right? We never cross our feet. Real quick when we're talking about it. Again, when we say never, that means there are some times when you do. Backspins is where you do, right? Here, you can backspin off of that. The other one is a backspin fake. So if you're somewhere where people throw a lot of backspins, you can dip here for a cross. Like when my guard comes up and then step out of it and throw high. That might just be for my part. But it's a good fake anyway. It's a good fake anyway. The backspin fake is good because people who know, when they see your body twist, they're like, oh, yeah, it's coming, right? You can even twitch your shoulder a little bit, and then you can step out of it, boom, into a big shot the other way. So that's a little bonus. You might not use it much, but keep it in the back of your head. If you're fighting like Arthon, he'll react to it. He'll react to it. You'll probably get him at least once or twice before he like realizes what's going on. If you get him, tell him I sent you. Make sure that happens. All right, so that's from long range, right? It's the same with your board. In fact, it's even better with your board, right? Because we're taking away angles big time with board. It doesn't matter if you're right foot forward, left foot forward. These micro steps to the right, they protect this sword side hip. They protect this shoulder. To some extent, they protect this shoulder, although you have to be pretty aware of this shoulder if you're right foot forward. If you're left foot forward, it protects ass wrap, right? It protects this shoulder, it protects sword side hip. Those micro steps to the right. Again, you got a board? Thank you for helping me, by the way. And we're gonna get to some drills here in a minute. Just want to give a little bit of theory first, and then we'll start drilling. Again, if I want to feel, I move right. You can throw shots at me, it doesn't really matter. Again, right, I'll protect it, right? Okay, hit me with the over the shoulder shot. Okay, right? He hit me pretty easily, right? All right, hold on. Put my board right here, so I do it again. And I do it again. There you go. Okay, he hit me pretty easily, right? All I'm gonna do, I want to prove a point. All I'm gonna do is step right. I haven't moved my board, I haven't changed position at all. Hit me again. Do it again. Again. You get it? What if you really try to get it? Then what happens? Now what happens? He's fucked, right? Sorry for my language. Right? If he really insists on getting that shot and I have those small micro steps, right? He can't get it, right? It's gone. Like the angle has gone away. That small step right takes that angle away for that shot. So just remember that. Same thing with, can you throw sword side hip? Okay, go ahead, throw sword side hip. Okay, good. Actually hit my hip. Come on. There you go, okay, good. All right, all I'm gonna do is step right, go ahead. Go ahead. All right. All right, did I change anything else? Am I moving my board? No. No, I swear to God, if you learn to step right defensively, you don't have to do anything else. Because what happens if I decide I want to block with my board sword side hip, right? Go ahead, throw it. Now what?
You get blasted in the shoulder.
That's right. I've given up my shoulder if I block that with my board too much, right? What if I block with my sword? Go ahead. All right, I can, and maybe I could throw something off, but it's not as good as if now I could definitely throw something off because my sword's free to hit. I don't have to worry about it being used for blocking. I'm not saying you can never sword block. That's not the point. I'm saying that the more you don't block with your sword, the more free your sword is. There are people who do have such big outside wraps you almost have to block swords sometimes.
And you're making that change with that front foot.
Yeah, yeah.
I normally think of pulling that sword side hip back a little bit when I do that to get that angle.
Yeah, it's like a micro step, like everything else. The back foot goes first and then the front foot. Yeah, the front foot goes first. Yeah, and the thing about that is then you'll notice if you just rotate, I'll do that actually. So I'm gonna just rotate for him now, right? I rotate, go ahead, throw. Yeah, I've just rotated now. Now what? Yeah, I just go again, or I open up any number of things. Like I haven't changed the situation, right? We're still in the exact same situation that we were in. We haven't gained any advantage. Where a small step right gets us out of center line. If they insist on throwing, puts them in a horrible position, and you're in the space to counter, right? All right, Eggman's here. So I told you all about Eggman earlier, and he's especially going to be able to talk about flow with us. So while we're talking about long range, before we transition to something else, we'll talk about openers here in a second, but I'll let him give some flow commentary for long range.
So long range with flow, pretty much it all boils down to footwork, because you don't want to overextend, obviously. But if you're going to shoot from a long range, the way I fight, it's kind of boxer stance. I keep my left hand forward. To bring in long range with the right hand, it's all about body movement and body positioning. So if I'm standing here with footwork and I try to close as much distance as I can in micro transactions, I guess. Whenever I want to bring in this right arm, since I can hit him here, I can't really hit him with my right arm. What I need to do is I sink into my hips, I rotate my body forward, and then I can throw a shot way farther now by just using my whole body as a fulcrum. My whole body is a shot right back here. So what I'm doing is I'm twisting my body to generate that power and generate that length. It's a lot like how boxers throw a straight right whenever they're fighting. So I use jabs, I use little footwork to get close, throw a shot, just as an example. Okay.
you hide your footwork, you hide your movement with the shots as well.
I do, yes.
As you're throwing, you have really, really small steps forward, and it's really hard to see it.
Very, very good. Yes. You mask a lot of stuff with your hands, and that's another way that I can close range slightly. Is if I'm standing here at full range, you can do little dips, little dives. The sword didn't move, but my whole body did. Now I'm a lot closer. You can do a lot of those things to mask your footwork.
Yeah, that's super good. Now, what if someone's like insistent on pressing into you? How do you like still try to maintain long range flow when they're like kind of insistent on pressing?
You get to step off the line. If I'm running full speed backwards and he's running full speed forwards, he's going to catch me eventually. You can do it a couple of times, like whenever he's coming forward, and now he's getting too close. You've got to circle out and build that range.
So Egg hasn't been here, and right away we get to lateral movement, right? Like if someone's pressing into you, lateral movement's the best way to counter it. I didn't coach him on that, right? We did teach this last year, but I didn't coach him on this. What you do? Egg's telling you how he fights. I'm telling you how I fight. And we don't fight the same way, but the fact we fight very differently, but lateral movement is very important for how we fight. Let's talk a little bit too about some range control tricks you can do. You know, people are watching when you move, right? And when they're smart, they're watching your shoulders come up and down, like stuff like that, to try to time things on you, right? So if he's pressing in on me, and I'm kind of moving, well, now he's feeling like I'm going to get in a good spot to go. I'm also not in a dangerous spot. I can still move forward and be fine, right? So if no one says that, if I just raise up and then put my foot right back down where it was, he's moved himself into effective range without even knowing it, right? He's thinking, oh, he's moving away from me, he's moving away from me, he's moving away from me. Well, I just stopped moving away from him and gave him all the visual cues that I was moving away from him. Oh, don't tell Noah I told you this. Anyway, he'll get very irritated with me. But I just raise up, go right back down. And now he wasn't expecting to be in the range to fight, right? He's still thinking he's chasing me. So from here, I have all kinds of options where I can go sword side hit, I can threaten shoulder, right? I can try for that big over the board shot. You know, I can give him something over here. And now he's already panicked because he wasn't expecting to be in this situation. So when I flinch over here, that'll probably happen. And then I can step over here and go for something like that, right? So that's just it's a simple trick, but it's a really good one where, you know, you talk about how do I get closer, right?
Let them close.
Yeah, this is closing a distance while I was maintaining distance. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You closed for me. How do I close? One way is to let them do it, right? That's one way. And they didn't even realize it. Like, they're like, oh, crap.
I teach this kind of in one of my classes too, is that there's two ways to close distance, right? I come to him or he comes to me. So if you're backing up and they're coming toward you, sometimes you just come back half a step. It's a good way to control the fight under your terms, even though they think they're doing it.
Yeah, nice.
So you're talking about most of the time you're going to take small steps, right?
Yeah.
If you're fighting a lefty or a flow who likes to use their left hand, are you going to change it to a left step?
No.
No?
Because they're already wanting this side, so if I'm going left them, I'm giving them that even easier.
Okay.
The only way I would do that is if I wanted to really invite them to throw, but I was trying to invite them to throw from a bad range. So I would like step, and then I'd kind of not take a big enough step, and I think I have something, but then I'd be ready for that bigger step again, invite them to throw and then counter off.
Okay.
That would be the only reason I would really step left.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm backing away. Now, if I'm aggressing, there are different reasons, but yeah, backing away, I would not change it to a left step.
Okay.
This in general is protected by stepping right.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? Other questions before we go on? Okay, openers from long range, right? And we'll talk about flow openers and what I use for board openers. So, generally in long range, you want to throw safe shots. You're not really looking for necessarily for big kills. You're kind of looking for those jab setups that he talked about. So if I'm fighting right here, again, if I step left or I'm trying to threaten that and make him worried about that. But you're looking for like one good one is this right here. See how there's this gap? That's very good. Generally, this is better to try to hit from right foot forward instead of left foot forward. But if you see that gap, then use movement, and even if you step out, watch the sword will kind of come out eventually, then you can bang, shoot for that gap. If he gets his block there, that's fine. You go here, and then come back out. see, that was all long range, pretty long range, maybe medium for most people. But the opener's definitely from here. Like I'm shooting for that shoulder, and I can dip hip if I want. I don't have to, and I can go out. So that shoulder's a good long range target, right? Another one I tend to like to use, and I will say this: most kill shots don't happen from long range. Like they happen from either medium or close. You can open from long range. So I would maybe use that same opener, that same threat. Again, I'll step left to threaten it. I'll throw. He gets a block here. Now I have options with my step. Again, we can dip down to here, right? Generally, I would use a left step forward. We can hit that hit, right? And again, my feet are pretty good right now. I gotta check with my people who know that we're in the stance class. My feet are pretty good. So you're looking for something like that. The other thing with that same opener, right? Now they're kind of worried about that. You can flinch down like this to get that board to come. Then you take this back foot and you step right. And you go over and outside. And look again, pretty good on our feet, right? Right. And then we come off. Now his hitty thingy's way over there, and I'm not super worried about it because my blocky thingy's right here, right? So we're in good shape. So that's another kind of long range opener I use. The other ones, like, and this is more of a closing one. This stab under the board is a golden stab because people are very worried about their business, right? And so if they think you're threatening to stab their business, then they get very concerned, and they should be. And so, kind of come. You can move either right or left on this one. Either one really works in this situation, but you want to be left foot forward for this one. And then what you'll do is you'll dip with that front foot, boom, and dip. Very concerned about their business, right? Now I'm a little long here for our stance, but there's a reason for that because I really want to threaten this stab, right? And I'm also setting this foot up to move. So I come here, he's dipped. Now, that shoulder, you can try to just throw for, right? But we don't do that kind of crap. What we're going to do is we're going to take our back foot and we're going to step. We can throw for that shoulder. We can throw for this shoulder. But better than all that is we take that step and throw this a wrap. And if we have to, we can throw it twice. And then we don't want to throw it again after that, right? Because we're good. So the thing is, if they don't react to the stab, don't react. Right? If they don't react to this threat, what are we going to do?
Stab them.
That's right. But please aim for here. Right? Don't really stab them. It's no good for anybody. Just right here, under their board. But you know, you're going to get a little. Again, we're going to use our micro movements, right? Micro transactions. We're going to get a little close. We dip down for that. Like even here, we don't need that overreaction that he did the first time. Even here, you know, we can pop up and go for the stab. It's a little reachy. I don't like that as much. It's something you can do. It's an option. You know, we can go for this hip, off that stab. Generally, if you come here and you threaten high, right? Now he's like worried that he's overreacted. Come right back down to hip. And then you can shift out of that, right? And then last, like we already talked about, you can close the range with your right foot and throw your finisher, right? So when we're talking about how do I close, in general, I don't close other than letting them close. I don't close without threatening something, right? So we threatened here from high, outside, right? We threatened to stab, right? Lastly, the other kind of option off of that same opener, no, board side, right? So now we were moving left both times. I want to give you one that moves right. So we're kind of going to move right here. And he's worried about that board side, right? So we can open from that long range on that board side, boom, right? He feels pretty good about what he did. He took the right step, right? So he did the right thing. He took a right step. He feels pretty good about what he did, right? We feel pretty good about what he did too. We're okay with that. He did the right thing, but we're still going to punish him. So what we're going to do is we're already set to take our right foot and throw that same shot again. People are kind of stupid, and about, oh, they've thrown, now it's my turn to throw. Like, it's this block strike mentality, and I'm not saying block strike's a bad draw, I'm just saying they get in this mentality where I've blocked and now it's my turn. No way, it's still my turn, right? I haven't given up turn. I rolled fucking doubles. I'm going to get it. So, right, you throw this from long, and you take the same step, you go over. Now, a key here, right, we talk about board to board, we talk about equipment manipulation. You can take the bottom of your board and chuck their board. So, not only are you in a good spot where you can get around their board, but you can prevent them from being able to block it with the bottom of your board. So you throw from wide, boom. He did the right thing completely. We're still going to step into James' board, right? And look when we jam his board, our board is in a good position. And you can even do that in amp guard nowadays. In Austin, you could always do it. But I guess by the regular rule book, you could do it like everywhere now. So, look for opportunities like that. But those long range openers lead, like I said, that's what leads us into short. Very rarely are you going to go, today I'm pressing, right? I mean, it's not going to be very good for you. It is fun. There's a drill for that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. That's a different drill. But in general, you're going to want to threaten something to get you inside, right? Or let them close the distance for you with the tricks that we talked about. So that's long.
And I do very similar things with Florentine. Like his openers that he uses from long are pretty similar to what I do, but I use it with two swords instead of dipping a dive with one sword. I attack this hip a lot. It's a very good hip shot attack, left foot forward Florentine. And my combo return is dependent on what he does. So if I throw the shot here and he blocks with his arm, with his sword, and doesn't move his shield, that open lane becomes more open. So it's a very similar shot what you do. If you block with your shield, you don't want to do that, because then it's the other side, basically. Whenever you come forward and you press real hard and you really want to come all the way over, I don't really get to jam with the bottom of my sword as much, but you can close off the whole lane. So if I come here and I throw this shot, I can step here, close off the whole lane, and then throw this shot over. And it's pretty much the same thing, as I'm shutting down this one side of your attack, and you have to come all the way around to compensate.
Yeah, and the super awesome thing about that is he doesn't really have to move his sword, he's just moving him, so sword kind of stays in the same place. It's almost like a passive block at that point, because he's moving behind it.
I mean, you could go tip into the shield to open that.
You could, but then his sword might be free. He's not going to hit me with a shield, so I'm not worried about that as much.
So what would stop him, though, if he still has his sword in the block from simply block striking onto your, open side?
Usually it's the speed of the combo. So if he blocks here, I can snipe his arm, and as soon as I throw a shot here, I bring it right back to guard. There's not a lot he can throw from this position, because I have this as blocked totally down here. I mean, maybe he could stab me, but I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah, also, Eggman is a lot longer than a lot of people, so he's got a lot of range on people for that reason. But I still think that that's a legit combo no matter what range you're from, because you just, the motion for this shot gets it back so fast as compared to what he's going to try to do, that you'll have your block back in place in time to catch it, no matter if you're short or tall. So I can see the question, you're like, I see this guy and he's like 6 foot plus and I'm 5'4", like, is that going to work for me? I would say the answer is yes, as long as you're using good mechanics to get your block back in time. If you leave it out there, no, you're going to get murdered.
I feel like I throw the shot and they're pretty deep, and if they try to intercept and strike me, I usually simo their hip to my arm. So it's usually not a very good trade for them.
Florentine to cry of victory. Arm. Yeah. Okay, so that's a lot of long range openers. You see, Florentine and Ford are very, very similar things. People don't really understand that, but fighting in general, you have 4 quadrants you can attack, right? Nothing magical or mystical about fighting. Advanced this, basic that, like whatever people want to say. Fighting is really a very simple thing. It's hands and feet, right? That's kind of the unofficial motto of the dojo. It's the Latin words for hands and feet, which I don't remember. But yeah, because we use our hands and we use our feet, and it's the same thing, no matter what. You saw that Clint moved without a board almost the same way as I moved with the board. You'll find single, the movements are very similar as well. So, movements and timing are a universal truth across all styles. All right, so we talked about closing, we talked about how to get there, some openers, right? We're gonna do a little drilling because I've been talking to y'all a lot. The first drill we're gonna do is a board-to-board drill. I haven't tried this with Florentine, but if you're a Florentine fighter, what we'll do is fist to board, right? So you'll start from here for Florentine, right? And I would start more bent, right, and ready to fight. But if you're a board fighter, you start here, right? And then you count down, we'll count down for you. And then you go until someone dies, right? But don't do this. This is what the wheels did. This is what Shion and Anatole did the first time I told them to do this drill. They literally went 3, 2, 1. And they both jumped backwards. And then they both looked at each other like, oh, we're terrible. We need this drill. And then they changed the rules a little bit where they had to keep their shields touching, which isn't the rules I want you to do. What I want you to do, if you're looking for interactions like this, you're looking for shots like that, where you're jamming, right? You're looking for shots. You can come off a little bit. In fact, you should. Where like I'll twitch here, and I'll come off and I'll find that hit, right? You're looking for stuff like I'm gonna stick here, I'm gonna come around here, right? You're looking for those close shots and those opportunities. There's a lot of different things to do, but you just got to get used to being close.
A lot of people are really uncomfortable being this close in a fight, so
Oh,
this
it's so
will be a
fun.
good drill.
All the juices right there.